Fishing in Zambia. The Zambezi is the largest river of the southern part of the tropical Africa, with an extensive floodplain and numerous tributaries, has an important potential for fishing. But the large majority of the people along the river are either cattle keepers or agriculturalists, and fishing is of relatively little importance. That attitude may have been the result of earlier times when crocodiles and hippos presented major problems. Much of the floodplain is treeless and the waters are rather shallow. High evaporation in the tropical climate dries up the many seasonal pools. Most fishing activity is centered in the lower part of the floodplain, northwest of Livingstone, where floods during the rainy season create extensive pools. Practically all the fishing villages are temporary structures built of local materials, providing minimal comfort. But that way of life is taken for granted, and during the fishing season, many families stay there, with the major diet represented by corn, cassava, beans, and the like. The photo here shows the bachelor's camp, which will be occupied for a month or so. The large wooden mortar would be used by some females, always available around bachelors for good reasons. As usual, the fishing areas are occupied by specific tribes of the region, based on traditional rights to the area. Most of the fishing on the floodplain is done by large nets laid out and hauled by manpower. In colonial times, such fishing was strictly regulated by allowing netting with 4 by 4 inch large holes only to protect the breeding stock. But with independence, the government, attempting to increase popularity, has reduced the mesh size to 2 inches. That has led to a rapid decline of the breeding fish supply. Moreover, the fish are bony, thus a small fish provides very little meat. The net fishing is largely an amateurish attempt with little proper planning and management. No power boats are used to lay out and gather the net. The native dugout canoes, roughly carved, are rather unstable for such a task. In this photo, some visiting officials survey the scene. Any African appointed to that task and dressed accordingly is most unlikely to be of any help. Moreover, most of those persons being political appointees have little, if any, appropriate knowledge how to improve the existing conditions. The photo shows the meager results of fishing by half a dozen men for much of the day. Any comment by a visiting Westerner, however appropriate, would be resented, and when we indicated the ecological damage due to the reduced mesh size, the result was rather hostile. With independence, they do as they please. After the flood of the rainy season, there would be many shallow pools left with stranded fish. The natives then would build a reed fence, get into the pool, and stir up the muck at the bottom until the fish came up gasping for air to be caught by woven baskets or even by hand. The variation of that technique is illustrated here, where boys are wading around in a mucky pond, some with sharp sticks and even with pronged branches, hoping to secure a catch. The result is always the same: small, muddy fish. A boy on the way home with the all-day catch for a family. Most of the fish are the species tilapia, which breeds well in tropical Africa, but again is mostly skin and bones. Due to total lack of refrigeration, it will be eaten the same day, unless it is smoked, then sold in the market. The illustration shows the carving of a native dugout. It is very unstable, and it is not recommended to be used in waters where hippos and crocodiles live. Hippos are notorious for diving under and upsetting the canoes, probably for fun only, as they are herbivorous. Joanne is sitting here in front of a temporary native fishing hut. The platform in front was used to preserve the fish by smoking. That will provide a rather strong taste. While the fish is prepared for smoking, the ever-present very numerous flies may deposit their eggs in the meat, hence the total result may be somewhat unappetizing. The photo here shows part of the fish market at Lusaka. The dried fish is simply laid on mats or pieces of paper on the ground. Dust from people walking by, flies, and the exposure for a day or more could contribute to the deterioration of the meat. The fish being dried or smoked, or both, cannot be kept in sanitary condition. Bon appetit!